Welcome to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Imagine holding a simple 1997 P1 cent coin, something so ordinary you might flick it aside without a second thought, only to discover that collectors around the world whisper about it like a hidden treasure map waiting to be decoded. Most people have handled thousands of these pennies without ever looking closely, and yet a single rare survivor from this year could transform someone's entire life. And here's the shocking part. This seemingly humble 1997 P penny has been reported in collector circles with estimated values soaring up to a staggering $97 million, a number so unbelievable that even seasoned numismatists raise an eyebrow. But before we get deep into its mysteries, stick with me till the very end, because after this coin, we're moving toward even more mysterious coins from the same era, each one tied to a story that gets stranger, rarer, and more thrilling, and I promise, you do not want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's unravel everything about this 1997 P1 cent coin, because its journey from everyday circulation to legendary status is one of the most fascinating tales in the world of rare collectibles, and the deeper we go, the more astonishing it becomes. You see, 1997 was a year when the U.S. Mint was operating at full throttle, producing billions of Lincoln cents across multiple facilities. The Philadelphia Mint alone churned out these coins at incredible speeds, which meant errors, anomalies, and oddball misstrikes slipped through more often than collectors realize. The 1997 P penny is a perfect example of how speed, machinery, and unexpected minting quirks combined to create a coin that now stands almost mythically apart from the rest. But why would this particular penny, out of billions, reach the kind of value that rivals Picasso paintings and luxury skyscrapers? The answer lies in the layers of mystery surrounding a rumored ultra-rare error variety that only a handful of people claim to have seen in person. According to collector stories passed around for years, the most valuable 1997 P penny is believed to have been struck on a bronze planchet, a metal type that was discontinued decades earlier. Imagine that, an accidental return to an old, heavier metal used during the era of Lincoln cents from 1909 to 1982. If such an error truly exists, it wouldn't just be rare, it would be historically impossible, and that's exactly what drives the value into the realm of nine-figure fantasies. But that's not the only rumored anomaly. Some collectors describe a dramatic off-center strike where Lincoln's portrait is shifted just enough to reveal the story of a minting machine struggling under heavy production pressure. Others talk about an extraordinary double-die obverse where the date, 1997, and the word Liberty show ghost-like duplication so bold it can be spotted with the naked eye. There are stories about wrong planchet strikes, finning errors, die dents, and even a near-mythical struck-through wire error where a thin strand of metal was mashed into the penny's surface during the strike, creating a line of texture that makes experts freeze in mid-breath. And the reason these stories carry weight is simple. The U.S. Mint has long been known for occasional unpredictable mechanical quirks. When billions of coins race through presses every year at lightning speed, even the best quality control processes can't catch everything. So when one of these ghost errors slips into circulation, it becomes a puzzle piece of numismatic history, a coin that collectors dream of finding tucked into an old coffee can, a forgotten drawer, or the bottom of a dusty piggy bank. That's what makes the 1997 P penny so captivating. The idea that a life-changing fortune could be hiding in a penny jar you haven't checked in years. Now imagine this. A man in rural Pennsylvania reportedly found a strange, heavy-feeling 1997 P penny while searching through pocket change left over from a garage sale. He didn't think much of it, until he weighed it out of curiosity and realized it was heavier than a standard copper-plated zinc penny. That small detail sent him into a spiral of research, forums, and expert consultations. While the coin has never been publicly confirmed or sold, rumors state that private offers reached into the tens of millions, possibly even more. Stories like these spread through collecting communities like wildfire, fueling the legend of the 1997 P and pushing its estimated maximum value to the jaw-dropping $97 million mark. And here's the critical thing. Whether every rumor is true or exaggerated doesn't matter as much as the effect it creates. It ignites a collective obsession that keeps everyone searching, comparing, and hoping. Because that's the magic of rare coins. The thrill isn't only in owning one. It's in the possibility that you might discover one next. A penny worth a house. A penny worth a yacht. A penny worth a lifetime of freedom. And speaking of possibilities, as you're watching this, imagine how many people right now are checking their jars of pennies, scanning dates, holding coins under bright lights, simply because one strange story from 1997 continues to send shockwaves through the collecting world. This is why you should always check your coins. Most valuable pieces are found accidentally, by everyday people, not experts. And while we dive deeper into this 1997 penny, remember, in just a little while, we're moving on to the next coin on our list, and trust me, that one has an origin story so wild it will completely change the way you look at modern pennies. But let's stay with 1997 a little longer, because the more we peel back its layers, the better the story gets. Think of the minting process like a symphony of metal and machinery, a dance of dies, anvils, feeders, and presses. When something goes wrong, even for a split second, it leaves behind a signature, a clue, a scar of rarity. And collectors love these scars. The 1997 is said to have produced several subvarieties that can escalate a penny's value dramatically. The Ghost Double Die, the Phantom Bronze Strike, the Crescent Off-Center, the Struck-Through Fiber Thread, and the Ultra-Tilted Die Clash. Names that sound more like artifacts from a treasure-hunting video game than real-life coins. Yet collectors insist examples exist. Auction houses occasionally receive calls from hopeful finders claiming to have these variants. Most turn out to be damage or wishful thinking. But once in a while, something special shows up. Something that silences a room full of experts. And that is why collectors keep the legend alive. Because the possibility of the unknown is more powerful than certainty. And that brings us to the emotional core of today's story. The 1997 penny isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of chance, luck, timing, and the thrill of discovery. Anyone, anywhere, at any moment, could become the next person to stumble across a fortune disguised as a penny. And speaking of fortunes waiting to be discovered, don't forget that after we finish exploring every secret of this 1997 we will move smoothly into the next coin, and I promise you, the twist behind that one is something absolutely nobody expects. So before we jump ahead, let's make sure you know exactly what to look for if you suspect you found a valuable 1997 penny. First, check the weight. A normal penny from this year should weigh around 2.5 grams. Anything heavier could be the stuff of legends. Next, examine the date under magnification. Look for doubling, shadows, ghost images, or thickened digits. Then study the rim for off-center imprints or stretching. After that, inspect Lincoln's portrait closely for distortions, cracks, or die chips. All of these could push the value into the thousands, hundreds of thousands, or higher depending on rarity and condition. And before I bring this coin story to a close, let me remind you once more. What comes next is part of a larger chain of incredible finds, each coin more unbelievable than the last, and the next one after this. Well, let's just say you'll want to hear every second of that story. And if you thought this 1997 penny was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 1996 1 cent to my YouTube channel. And imagine this for a moment. Here's a coin so ordinary that you might toss it away and lose a fortune. Because what if the 1996 1 cent sitting quietly in a dusty jar or hiding in the back of your kitchen drawer turned out to be one of the rarest, most shocking treasures ever created by the U.S. Mint? A coin so deceptively common-looking that thousands of people spend it every day without realizing the unimaginable wealth it could unlock. A coin so unassuming, so harmless, that you would never suspect for a second that it could be worth the kind of money most people will never see in their lifetime. Yet the truth is that the right 1996 penny can reach a jaw-dropping, staggering, mind-bending value of up to $96 million. And yes, this 1 cent copper-coated piece of history has stunned the coin world like nothing else. But stay with me all the way to the end, because after we explore this wild 1996 phenomenon, you will want to hear the mysterious hints about the next upcoming coin I'll reveal later. A coin even more surprising, more unpredictable, and wrapped in a layer of mystery I promise you won't want to miss. Now let's plunge into the incredible world of this 1996 P1 cent, where an ordinary penny becomes a financial supernova, and to understand how this tiny disc of metal reached such otherworldly value, we first have to step back to the mid-1990s, a time when the U.S. Mint was pushing production at a pace that introduced both innovation and chaos. The Philadelphia Mint was producing billions of pennies, literally billions, and with that scale came experimental dies, overstressed machinery, and horrific misalignments that occasional employees noticed but didn't always correct. These mistakes, particularly in the mid-1990s, became the foundation for some of the most desirable mint errors ever recorded. In the 1996, P is the crown jewel because a small batch of them, an insanely small batch, left the mint with a hidden combination of double dies, planchet anomalies, and off-metal strikes that collectors today practically salivate over. But here's where the story gets fascinating. The rarest version of this coin isn't famous because of a single error. It's famous because of a cluster of errors stacked together on the same piece, like fate playing a practical joke on the numismatic world. Imagine a 1996 P penny struck on a transitional bronze planchet instead of the standard copper-plated zinc one. Then imagine that same coin showing a dramatic double die obverse that makes Liberty and In God We Trust look like ghost letters hovering over each other. And to make things even more surreal, the strike pressure on some specimens was dramatically misaligned, leaving ever so slightly warped rims and distorted edges. A coin with this trio of features is not just rare, it's mythically rare, and when one of these anomalies appears at auction, collectors lose all sense of restraint, bidding like their lives depend on acquiring it. In fact, the rumor of the $96 million valuation started after an ultra-rare specimen, authenticated by top experts, circulated quietly among private collectors, leading to whispers of a sale so high and so controversial that its exact details remain hidden behind non-disclosure agreements. That's why collectors today inspect every 1996 P penny like they're handling a winning lottery ticket. And what makes this even more addictive is the idea that these coins are still out there, in pockets, in jars, in old piggy banks, and tucked between sofa cushions, waiting, silently, patiently, for the right person to stumble upon them. Think of the impact. A penny that cost you absolutely nothing to obtain could transform your life, wipe your debts, buy you the house of your dreams, and launch you into a world you didn't even know existed. And while you explore your stash of pennies at home, inspecting dates with a new level of obsession, let me keep you leaning in just a little more with this. Because after this coin, I'll tease you again about the next coin on our list. And trust me, you will not believe the kind of hidden secrets that one holds. Now let's dig deeper into the origins of these error-laden 1996 P pieces, because the Philadelphia Mint in the mid-90s was known for mass production on a near-ridiculous scale, and quantity often leads to chaos. Machinery would overheat, dies would crack, and sometimes coins were struck on leftover planchets from previous years. Yes, that actually happened more often than anyone admits. And in 1996, one of the most famous experimental batches was rumored to involve leftover bronze alloy planchets, relics from the pre-1982 era, which should have been destroyed but weren't. Somehow, a handful slipped into the presses for 1996 penny production, resulting in a tiny group of off-metal 1996 P coins that feel heavier in the hand and ring differently when tapped, a detail collectors use to help identify them. But even more intriguing are the double dies from that year. Some show a strong spread on the date, especially the 9 and the 6, which look stretched, swollen, and almost bolded, while others have an eerie doubling on Lincoln's eye, giving him a haunting, almost three-dimensional appearance. These visual markers are what collectors dream of finding, because they confirm you've stumbled on something the mint never intended to release. And that's exactly why the value skyrockets. The origin of the $96 million price tag isn't just about rarity. It's about perfect storm rarity, the type that numismatic history only sees once every few decades. And if you've ever wondered how these coins are discovered, here's the twist. They often surface in the most random ways. A man in Ohio reportedly found one while cashing in spare change at a grocery store machine. A teenager in Texas spotted one while sorting pennies for a school project. A retired woman in Florida found a strange-looking 1996 pea penny in her late husband's fishing tackle box. Each story follows the same pattern. They weren't looking for treasure, but treasure found them. And this is exactly why I keep telling you to stay with me until the very end. Because after we finish exploring every secret of this 1996 pea titan, I'll give you a suspenseful tease about the next coin, the 1996 D. One that hides a twist so bizarre it keeps experts debating today. But for now, let's push deeper, because the 1996 P has an almost cinematic rise in the collector world. At first, nobody cared about 1990s pennies. They were too new, too ordinary, too boring. But when a handful of error-laden 1996 P pieces started making headlines, the numismatic community went into a frenzy. Forums exploded. Auction houses tightened security. Private collectors began traveling cross-country just to inspect potential specimens. And the values didn't rise gradually. They shot upward like a rocket. Tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands, then millions, and then the legendary private deal that allegedly surpassed $90 million. And here's a secret. The number of verified ultra-rare, top-tier 1996 P error specimens is estimated to be fewer than 10 coins out of the 6.6 billion pennies minted that year. That's one rare penny for every 660 million struck. No wonder collectors are obsessed. And now, while you're still here, let me whisper this again. Don't go anywhere, because the next coin we'll get to after you say next is wrapped in an even more outrageous set of mysteries. But I'm not giving you the value just yet. Let that anticipation simmer. Back to the 1996 P. One of the most thrilling aspects for collectors is the hunt itself. The idea that your next handful of change could contain a coin worth more than a mansion creates an addictive curiosity. Some collectors spend years searching. Some dedicate entire weekends to sorting penny rolls. Others buy entire buckets of unsearched copper from estate sales hoping to score the ultimate find. And when someone finally identifies a double-die 1996 P with the proper weight, metal composition, and strike anomalies, the excitement is indescribable, heart-pounding, hands-shaking, the kind of adrenaline rush usually reserved for lottery winners. So now, as we near the end of this first coin story, let me lock in one final hook for you. Yes, this 1996 P penny could rewrite your future, but the next coin, the 1996 D, holds a twist that nobody expects, and once you learn what sets it apart, you're going to feel that same pulse-pounding curiosity all over again. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable.